Nicholas Luff monk. Nicholas Luff, also known as Nicholas Luff, died c. 1424, was first a Benedictine and then a Carthusian monk in medieval England, and became the first prior of Mount Grace Charterhouse in Yorkshire. He was the translator and reviser of a popular devotional treatise which was used by the church authorities to counter the teaching of John Wycliffe. In his later years he convinced Henry V of England to attempt to reform Benedictine monasticism in England, but died before measures could be taken. Life as a monk. He spent his mature years as a Carthusian prior. He was originally a Benedictine monk, perhaps of Freiston, as self-founded in 1114 of the Benedictine Crowland Abbey in Lincolnshire, and which within a short time became a priory. As the first prior of Mount Grace Charterhouse, Luff was preceded by 3 rectors, as the Carthusian order names the superiors of houses not yet formally incorporated, and early charter names Robert Treadway or Trethi, the first rector, as first prior. Luff was the 4th rector, promoted to prior upon the incorporation of Mount Grace in 1411. The latest documentary occurrence of his name is 15 March 1423, and his death, as former prior, is recorded in 1424. Devotional writing. Luff translated a popular 14th century Franciscan devotional manual, Meditations on the Life of Christ, Latin, Meditations Vitae Christi, or Meditations de Vita Christi, Italian, Meditazioni della Vita di Cristo into English, as the mirror of the blessed life of Jesus Christ. The Meditations was at the time attributed to St. Bonaventure, but is now recognized to be by an unknown author, and hence is attributed to Pseudo Bonaventure, although attempts have been made to identify its author, and it is possible that it was written by an Italian Franciscan, Giovanni de Colli Gerans de Colibus. Around the year 1410, Luff submitted his mirror to Thomas Arundel, Archbishop of Canterbury, in conformity with the strictures of the Oxford Constitutions of 14079, which had forbidden all new translations of biblical material in any form, without the submission of the material to the local bishop for approval. The Archbishop had taken this action in an attempt to stop the circulation of the Wycliffite translation of the Bible and other heretical Wycliffite Lolloid writings. Luff's translation, in fact, includes a number of substantial interpolations into the original Latin text. These aim to argue specifically against the positions of John Wycliffe and his followers, as for example in the church hierarchy, almsgiving, and the sacraments of penance and the Eucharist. An additional chapter on the Eucharist is sometimes referred to separately as the short treatise of the highest and most worthy sacrament of Christ's body and his miracles. Archbishop Arundel not merely approved of Luff's translation, but personally endorsed and commanded its circulation, and it appears to have been disseminated in manuscript primarily from the early 15th century book production centres in London and Westminster, rather than from Mount Grace Charterhouse. The mirror was remarkably popular. There are 64 surviving manuscripts and 6 printings made before 1535. Reform agitator. Later in life, Luff complained to King Henry V about the laxity of the discipline of the Benedictine monks in England, inciting him to call an extraordinary convocation of the order at Westminster to answer a bill of 13 charges that Luff, a former Benedictine himself, had apparently drawn up. Luff was one of the king's 3 delegates to the Reform Commission that derived from this convocation, but both he and the king died before any actual reforms were effected.